do not reflect the opinions of In Touch Radio or its staff.
Good morning. Good morning. It is indeed a good Saturday morning. This is Clint Paris, live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody can be a star, and you are straight up the middle. Contrary to anything you may have heard anywhere else, everything you hear coming from my voice is as middle of the road as you can be. And if you disagree, well, that means you are either on the left or the right, or maybe even in a ditch somewhere. But be that as it may, wherever you are is fine with me, because we should embrace our differences, our diversity of thought, of ideas, as much as we embrace our difference of appearance and how we live our lives. And I am always excited to engage people, both that agree with me and who disagree with me. And some of you may say, well, you argue with people that just, no, it's real discussion. It's not, I think it would be kind of sad to me, and I'll tell you, as a connoisseur of some right-wing media stuff, it sounds kind of like an echo going on when you hear the same people say the same thing, agreeing with, and it's very difficult to move forward when everyone is in total agreement. It's the whole idea of iron sharpens iron, but there's a friction in that process that creates a sharper blade. The same thing with our ideas and how we look at things. What makes us stronger is when our thoughts and our ideas that we have are challenged by what other people think and what other people believe. And you can't always get that if you are in an echo chamber. So what do? We plop down here on Saturday morning and talk about it. So if you'd like to talk about it, the call-in number is 813-444-9588. 813-444-9588. Now, you may have tuned in on the In Touch News website and are listening to my voice. I want to advise you that you can also watch the show and see all the shows that come on In Touch News, both at YouTube, In Touch News YouTube page, and on In Touch News Facebook. In fact, we're live on Facebook now if you want to go there and watch it. There's a little bit of a delay, but you get the gist of it, and you can see why I am not on TV and that I'm behind the microphone for the most part talking. But like I said, I'm excited to be here with you all this morning on Saturday. Pete's not with us today, but he'll be back shortly in a couple of weeks, and we'll catch him up on everything that he's got coming to him for the way that he lives over on the right in that conservative Republican lane. I'm concerned about people like Pete. It may not seem like it, but the detachment of the Republican Party from reality, and then living in a conspiracy ecosystem, is really tearing up some people. See, people. There are a lot of people who are gullible. I mean, they're very, very gullible. They're easy to influence, and we know that because, you have people out selling all kind of crazy stuff. There are a lot of people who are very, very gullible, and they want to believe in something. They want to feel like they know something, and because of that, they're willing to go along with people that sound credible and believable. And ironically, our media system has figured that out. And so they, like radio, when you tune in, they give you what you want to hear. They play about 10, 15 records, every now and again mixing a new one, but for the most part, they're going to roll back across those main hits you have. So if you want to hear some country music, you tune into a country station, and you're pretty certain you're going to hear country music. And even in that country music, you're only going to hear a certain range of songs, no different than hip-hop or anywhere else you may go. Well, media and information that's on places that and because of the competition, they are forced now to try to hold on to their audience by giving you what you expect and want to hear. People don't want to be surprised when they turn into the news. They really don't. They want to tune in and kind of hear what they expected to hear. And that is right now driving and influencing our public discourse so much, because we no longer have the newspaper print media where it was more time to absorb and see how things were operating. We don't have that anymore. That's gone. Now what we have is this instant soundbite. You know, any minute I want to hear a news clip, I just click on at my convenience and click on that news clip. It used to be a time I had to turn on this on the TV at certain times to get the news. And if I missed that, well, I just was out of luck. Well, not anymore, because news is on 24/7 and it's on multiple locations, and it's multiple themed driven news on multiple locations. So that information piece has changed drastically how we look at things. And this week we had a major shakeup, two major shakeups in media. And we'll talk about those, a little bit later on. The first one was Tucker Carlson was fired by Fox News. Now, I didn't see the Tucker Carlson being fired thing coming, but I did see changes needed to be made at Fox News. Last year they asked Lou Dobbs. I thought Lou wasn't big enough. They needed to put a little more, as a leader once told me. They need to put some more blood on the floor. Somebody else had to be sacrificed. We had to for things to move forward. I thought they needed someone bigger or a bigger shakeup, even in how they present their stuff, because of the magnitude of legal issues. So that was a big surprise to me. The other one I didn't see was Don Lemon. Exactly. I knew it was coming. Everybody kind of knew. Don walked down the hall. I knew at CNN, people would be humming, "Dead man walking, dead man walking, oh, dead man walking." Because everybody knew Don was on a short leash. Don has been, since the infamous, I think, New Year's Eve, getting drunk, busting slob with the dude on the air and all that, and crying all the time. And, I thought his lipstick has been getting a lot more pinker. A lot more pinker lipstick Don's been wearing. So I was expecting that Don kind of, is going to kind of be muscled out. I don't know if he'd do on his own terms or how that would come down. But knowing that CNN wants to be more moderate. CNN wants to be more moderate. Don Lemon is too far out on the left liberal side, and has that kind of. And then here's the worst thing. Here's the worst thing you can have in any type of media presence: low ratings. So I need everybody right now, just to protect my back, call a friend, at least 3 friends, and tell them to tune in so that DJ CEO appreciates that my ratings are continuing to be strong. But Don Lemon's ratings plummeted since Chris Cuomo left. The two of them together somehow pulled each other along. And then they had their brofest going as well. But Don had gotten into a couple of things. He had the cold, getting drunk on the air, getting tipsy, and, got a little too much PDA, on the air. And anyway, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. So anyway, we got a caller calling in. DJ CEO, let's bring that caller in if you could for me. So anyway, just a lot of stuff going on. So let's just take in this caller. Good morning, caller. You're on InTouch News Radio. What's your name? Where you calling from? All right. So I'm sorry we lost that call. Hopefully that call. I promise you, caller, if you'll call back, my extremely talented tech team and the engineer behind the board is going to be able to push the button right this time. Somehow you got dumped. So I'm going to ask that call. You'll call me back, please. I promise. Pretty please, sugar on top. Call me back, and we will get you back on the air and see if we can engage in a productive conversation. Calling number is 813-444-9588. Let me check. Are we sure we lost that caller, DJ CEO? Caller, you there? All right, yeah, we lost that call. That's okay, caller. I promise you we will get you on and chat about some stuff. I don't know where you are in America, but we're cranking up election season. We finally got Joe Biden has released the video. All right, there we go. We got our caller calling back. Good morning, caller. How you doing today?
Hello, Mr. Paris. This is Chuck Campbell.
Oh, Mr. Chuck, what's going on, fellow? Hey, what's on your mind this morning, Mr. Chuck?
Hey, I know you got your agenda set, but I think the most important thing we need to make people aware of is what's happening with the Supreme Court and the corruption there, and them doing the agenda of billionaires.
Well, how about why don't you educate my listeners a little bit on that Supreme Court issue?
Well, we got two members. We have, of course, the black fella,
Uncle Clarence.
And, I'm sorry.
Uncle Clarence.
Yeah, Uncle Clarence, and we have
Gorsuch.
The name escapes. Gorsuch, or whichever one has the cabin up in Montana. And he's acting as as a puppet for this other billionaire whose name the name I don't recall. But I thought you'd be better in tune with that than I am. But my whole point is that the corruption at the highest court level will demean any court decisions that are made at the lower level. How can America function with Supreme Court justices that are corrupt?
Well, you bring up a key point, and the corrupt piece is about influence, and the way the court was set up under our Constitution was to make it insulated from influence. And what this information with Uncle Clarence and selling his mama's house, and then the guy fixing the house up and all that kind of stuff, and him not reporting it and saying he was advised differently, but is just unacceptable. And then Gorsuch, he was trying to hide that sale of the cabin to this billionaire, and because both of them were connected to entities that bring matters before the Supreme Court. But the bigger issue is, you're right, we are losing some credibility with the court. Now, there is credibility, it just spreads itself around. So if it's not at the court, where is it? Does it go back over into media? Does it go over into one of the other branches? What would you think, though, Mr. Chuck, would be something that could be done about it? What are you looking for? You think Congress should step in and take action, maybe?
Yes, definitely. I mean, the only way that we can deal with the Supreme Court is through congressional or senatorial actions. There certainly should be people to recuse themselves, and they should not be allowed. They should not be allowed to deal with anyone who has cases that come before the Supreme Court. Two is people who want to exert influence over our entire political party. Our entire political system. I mean, something has to be done so the credibility of the highest court in the nation is unquestioned.
Well, let me ask you this. We have this concept of the separate branches of government, and the Supreme Court has always kind of been over in its own little corner. Once they're appointed, basically there is no authoritative structure for anyone outside of themselves to police them. They have their own police force, their own security. They are isolated. So you're not concerned, though, if we open the door for some congressional oversight somehow, nefarious-minded people might, use it, to even further demean the court?
Yes, I would be concerned with that. That's something I didn't think of. I don't profess to be expert
right.
in these type issues. But my point is, for those who are experts and those who understand the system, is some kind of way to ask the Supreme Court to put policies in place that assure that their credibility is unquestioned.
Now, so you bring up the exterior ways that we look at it about credibility. Let me highlight something to you, because you bring up a key point. Recently, we had Justice Samuel Alito say he knows who leaked the Dobbs abortion decision, and it wasn't a conservative. So here we have a Supreme Court justice alluding to something inside the court. Isn't he himself now adding to this credibility issue with those kinds of comments?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you know who did it, then when you're taking some type of action, even if it's disciplinary.
Well, but think about this. So that was my first thought is, well, if he knew about it, why wouldn't he go and tell the Justice Roberts and action be taken? But you know how that you have that one guy hanging around saying, man, yeah, I know some secrets, but I can't tell nobody. And he just creates this aura of instability. Hey, Mr. Chuck, man, I appreciate you listening in. More than that, I appreciate you getting on this phone and calling me. You know, some cats, they're not a real man like you. You must be a real man, a stand-up fella, good to your family, your friends, and your community. A lot of guys can't do what you just did. Pick up the phone and call in. So I want to say I appreciate that, Mr. Chuck, and keep listening.
Well, you know, that's what BBE does.
I hear you, man. Take care, bro.
But hey, I really thank you, and another thing is, man, I thank you for what you're doing. Allow people to express themselves, even when they, you know, quote unquote, right or wrong.
Right.
You know what they say about opinions. We all have one, but you allow people to express their opinions.
Yes.
And that's a great thing, because that's what America and democracy is.
Outstanding, man. Thank you, Mr. Chuck. Hey, y'all, we're going to take this break. Can't much more be said than that, because he's alluded to the greatness myself. So I'm going to let that soak for a minute. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio, everybody's a star.
Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661. By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
Hi, it's Angela Birdsong, and I want to recommend highly that if you're an attorney, that you get a quote for errors and omissions insurance from Sam Cohen at Attorneys First. He's had over 20 years of experience, and he knows how to work with attorneys. Call him at 727-799-4321.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio. Everybody could be a star. Again, my name is Clinton Paris. And listen, y'all, I have a surprise for you all. We have none other than the wonderful Robin Lockett, a local activist in the community. She has been battling on the streets for the community for years and years and years. Did something crazy. I won't say crazy. Surprising. Let's say it that way. Robin. You did something surprising. You got into the recent election race for the city council seat.
Yes.
Right. Now, I think we had you on a couple times and we talked a little bit about. Let's go back. You're working in the community. What was the tipping point to say, you know what, I'm going to run for this office?
When city council reneged on a ordinance that they said that they were going to do, and they turned around and
got it
within a 2-week period said no.
All right. And a big issue I know for you for the last couple of years has been about not only voter registration and getting people engaged, but housing issues.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of give me a kind of sense of where does housing sit right now in general in our community?
Oh, we're in a terrible situation. People still being evicted. Just heard 2,000 kids are homeless.
Wow. In our school system?
The rent is there's no protection. The rent is still going up.
Right.
Nothing. People can't qualify. You need 3 times the rent. Just a whole lot of different obstacles that are put in place to discourage and keep people down.
Wow. We don't think about it as much here, but we were recently on a family trip to San Francisco, and we thought the homeless situation there was bad. And they've got an entire wraparound system trying to take care of people who live on the street. and then we drove over to Oakland. And to understand how long some of the Oakland homelessness is, there were homeless structures built up, and then there were trees growing through some of the structures. What meant to me, those things have been there for years. It was an entire community of homelessness, which goes back to the cost for housing and whatnot. We're on, I think, the front end of some of that, where working class people can be displaced. Am I correct?
Correct.
All right. So that was the thing the guy said, all right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm running for office, okay? And now, did you just pay the fee, or did you have to qualify with the what is it?
The filing
signature.
fee.
So you went and paid your fee.
Because
right?
I filed in. I filed like 2 days before the
Deadline?
closing. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. The other option would have been you could have got enough signatures from voters.
Correct.
You could have got it. Okay. So now you're in the race, and my kids hate this. You know, it's like interrogation. They say.
Oh, hey,
You got in the
for it.
race, and let me say, watch this. My kid's like, I know that question. It says, after you got in the race, tell me 2 things that you said. Now, I didn't expect that. That you're like, oh, I'm in the race. I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect it to be so. Well, I stumbled initially, right? It took me 2 weeks to. I didn't think about I don't know why. I didn't think about a website. I didn't know it was going to be difficult to.
You mean like an election plan?
A
plan. You
I really did not prep or prepare to run for office.
Right.
I said, oh, I know more people than I know within the city than I know in my district. So I'm running citywide, and I thought about who I would need, but didn't think about the small things that I would need, like the website, like the bank account, like,
campaign manager, treasurer.
Correct.
All those kind of things.
I can do the ground game.
You can do the voting part. I know people. I know the issues. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you got in the race, and then you made it through the what is the first round called? The primary.
Primary.
So and how many people were in the primary with you?
4.
4 of us. Okay. And so the top 2 voters move on then to the.
Oh, and they did not expect for me to make the runoff.
Right, you made the runoff. Right, you made the runoff, and so now, boom, you're in the runoff. Explain that. So, what is a runoff?
So, during the election, if a person does not reach 50.1%, then and there's more. They even
so
if
any one of the candidates in the group doesn't get 50%. Then there's
50.1.
There's another race.
Correct.
Between the who?
The 2 highest.
The 2 highest getters. Okay. And now tell me something. Now that's a different race than the previous race.
Yeah.
So now you're in the runoff. So let's go back to our something that you like. Oh, I didn't expect that. When you got in the runoff, you didn't expect what?
I expect the primary prepared me for the runoff.
Okay.
Because I, stumbled through a lot, right, in regards to getting acclimated and so forth. It was different because now it's not 4 of us, it's just 2 of us.
Okay.
And in the runoff, everything just starts over. I took the attitude, everything starts over. He has to excite his base, I have to excite my base.
Right.
So everything just starts over. In regards to expecting it was pretty much a repeat of the primary, just 2 people versus 4.
And it was like to me in the runoff, it's full speed. It's even faster pace because you got to cover. You got to cover more ground. You would say is it less hectic than in the general?
So when you're in the primary, you're trying to get everything out at once because now you're wanting to win the election.
Right.
In the runoff, you're able to assess to say, okay, because now you have data. You have data in regards to how you did in the with the different precincts, where you went, where you need to go. So you're just reassessing to close the gap.
Right. Okay. So we're sitting here live talking with Robin Lockett. She's a recent City of Tampa City Council candidate. Just trying to pick some brain. Because listen, the essence of America is in our political process. And we talk to her 6 months from now. Her thoughts may be very different. We got to get this stuff right now while it's good and fresh. You all can make your notes and think, well, I think I might want to. Oh no, I don't want any parts of that. So we're just trying to find out some of that dynamic. Now, what about the appearances, the public events? those kind of things.
No.
Is it similar to the primary, or is the runoff more targeted, or is there any difference in the events and stuff in the runoff?
So the primary, everything is full speed. Everyone's trying to talk with you because they expect for the election someone to come out as a winner.
Okay.
With the runoff, we didn't have as many forums,
Okay.
but we did have forums. You can't hide behind anybody. You can't be, they give you a minute to speak, and they shorten the time that you're able to speak because of all the people they have, all the races they have. Now it's just 8 people, 6 people. So now you have to know what
You said something. You said you can't hide behind. What do you mean by that? You can't hide behind people?
Because if you have 15 people on a stage, then it's going to shorten the time. You only have 30 seconds to speak.
Okay.
Or you only have a minute to speak. So you're there.
Right.
And when it's 2.
It's just you in there. You're right. You're right there.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? I mean, how did you feel about that part of the process, the appearances and the debates and things of that nature?
So I was fine with the quick story. I was fine with the debates because I didn't know what I didn't know. I went against someone that had total experience because he was in the seat, but he had a first day also.
Okay.
Right. So I would try to answer the question. I see everybody. I'm trying to answer the questions.
Right.
I see everybody. A lot of people just doing their sound bites, and I'm like, dude, if they gave me 2 minutes and my response was 30 seconds, I was like, okay, I'm finished. And then I would see other people just go for the 2 minutes, and I was like,
they use the time.
Yeah, and I was like, but I answered the question. So it was like it was a learning experience.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So we've got you there, you're there. I get a question, I answer the question. Was that the thing to do or not do? Are you recommending that somebody should? What should they do?
I think they should just answer. I think they should focus on answering the question because that's what people want. They want you to answer the question.
Well, that's interesting. You say that. Are you sure they want you to answer the question, or do they want to hear something that makes them feel good about you as a candidate?
No, I think that they feel good about you answering their question. Each forum that I was at, people came up to me and they appreciated me answer the question. And if I didn't answer the question, if they had a 2-part question, even one lady said we were at a forum and she asked 2 questions. I was able to answer one question around transportation, but what sold me on that lady, that constituent. She walked up to me. I walked up to her and I said, "Hey, I didn't have enough time to answer your second question because she wanted to know where are you going to be after the election."
Okay.
And I went to her because I didn't answer her question, and I answered her question. That's what sold her. That's what got her with me.
Got it. Okay. So now let's pan out a little bit and talk about elections in general. In both, I thought the primary and in the general, I thought there was low turnout.
Yeah.
I thought there was low turnout. So you agree? You think there was low turnout? Why do you think there was low turnout?
Systematically.
Explain that.
So what I was able to see with me running in this race is, again, it's 2 parts. Supervisors of elections, love them to life, but there's more that they can be done. There should be advertise. How do you reach the people, right? How do you reach the people to let them know that an election is going on? It may not be through an email. Are you doing Instagram? How are you? What are your goals as a superintendent? I mean, a supervisor of elector in that seat. What are your goals in regards to getting the vote out? It can't be. Do you set goals? Do you set and say, "Hey, I want 30%. I want 50%," and then how are you creating a map to reach those goals? Shouldn't be fine for you to have 10% of there's 240 Democrats.
240,000
Yeah.
And you get 10% of those people to come out and vote, or
But-
less.
Yeah.
Because I was like 20,000.
There should be goals set, and then he has to. And I'm not sure if that's what he does, but I want to have a conversation with him to see what he does, because it shouldn't sit well with him either. For me to go and knock on 50 doors, and 2 people say they didn't know, that's fine. 48 people to say they didn't know
That there's an election that is about to happen.
correct. No clue.
Now, I'll go a step further, and I don't want to put you in a tight spot. Matter of fact, why don't we do this? Let's take our break. I've got here in studio with me none other than recent city council candidate Robin Lockett. Got her in studio. I want you to call in with your questions, 813-444-9588. On the backside, I'm going to ask her a question. Is the voter turnout an issue of intentionality or just oversight? Hold on, don't answer. Is it intentional, or we have something else that is afoot? This is In-Touch News Radio, Reality Radio. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them 2 brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
When you've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Hi, I'm Angela Birdsong, and during the week, they call me the Medicare lady. I help people successfully transition onto Medicare, sometimes Medicaid. I also help people with life insurance, long-term care insurance, and annuities. Please do not try to navigate Medicare without me. It's complicated. 813-476-4837.
Hey, this is Tampa Bay Tammy. Don't forget to pick up your copy of In Touch News.
All right, we're back live in studio on In-Touch News Radio, Reality Radio. Well, yes, even you can be a star. I got in the studio. Recent city council candidate, Robin Lockett. You may have known her if you're local in our community, all over the place doing activism. But I know we're a national, international show. Wherever you are, I bet you got 1 or 2 Robins working in your community doing stuff. And a lot of people end up in politics, kind of how Robin ended up running for office here. She just didn't like some decisions that were being made and said, enough of this. We're going to put a little fire on this. And that's what she did. So her story and what she's telling us, it rings true for wherever you are and whatever you may be experiencing in your community. So I just thank you for coming in and being transparent and answering our questions. So if you got a question, you can call in 813-444-9588. I am not going to say this, but I know I have listeners who are fans of yours, and they're probably tuning in right now. So let's unravel this a little bit. So you brought up a key question there, because I was just furious looking at that turnout. Look at that. I can't even get to my question. So, all right. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning. This is Carl, the trucker calling, man.
We have already verified that you are really a trucker before. We went through that process, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, we got that out of the way. Okay, good. So we've got Robin in the studio talking about her recent experience with the election and other issues. So, Carl, what's on your mind this morning?
Good morning, Ms. Lockett. I was just following your campaign or whatever, and how would I am out of your district, out of your area. How would I make a contribution to your campaign? But I'm comfortable with your website, donating to your website.
Now, hold on for a minute, Carl. So her campaign is over. So you just making like a love offering? What are you doing? What is this? what are we doing here? And we're gonna go with Barack Obama and presume that she has campaign expenses. How would someone contribute to your campaign if they still wanted to make a contribution?
Oh, they couldn't. You couldn't. We have cutoff days, so 5
Okay.
days prior to the election.
Got it.
But I appreciate the love,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure if I'm going to run for a different seat or run again, but I will keep you abreast. But thank you for your support.
Got it. Yeah, and that's very generous of you, Carl.
Yes,
We know that you're a political connoisseur of all politics, and I appreciate you listening. And anything else on your mind you want to share with us this morning? Wait, hold on. I got you. You're out of Atlanta. Tell me about your feelings about your boy Don Lemon up at CNN needing to go out and look for employment. They let Don Lemon go. How did you take that?
Mm-hmm.
What was that, after they got rid of Kumar, Don Lemon wasn't too far behind him because those two guys, man, they did stir up a lot of angelicals.
Yeah. Got it.
And it was coming for him.
Got it.
But your Democrats, they do police their own a little bit too much. They do police their own a little bit too much. Which you got your Republicans, they all over the place. Like I was watching Fox last night, and they had I forgot her name. She had a panel. Had one white guy in the middle, a black guy in the middle, a white guy on one end, and a black guy in the middle, another white guy.
Right.
And they were just saying that how truthful Fox was. That they are the leaders in the news. That they are really they are the leaders of news. And if you really want to hear some real facts about news, you go to Fox.
Right.
But what Don Lemon said about women being, a little bit out of their prime. Easy now. Easy.
I want to start another controversy on my show. Look, man, you leave women alone on this show.
I mean, right. And right. It was a true statement.
Hey, look, hold on, stop. See, I knew he was going to go too far. You've had old coon dudes running around this country for centuries dictating what happens and doesn't happen. And then we're going to get I don't say the guy's anything other than what he is, come out and say this about women being past their prime. We had men past their prime for eons. Your boy Joe Biden, they giving him cue cards telling him stand up, sit down, and things of that nature. And you want to dare talk about women after 35? We won't let that go today. So we're going to end that conversation. I'm going to give you something that's easier for you to deal with. Your boy Joe Biden put out a video, right? Do you think it was effective as a launch for his campaign? Because we've been waiting on, Biden to put something out. What did you think about the video?
But that was no proof that he was reading cue cards.
I see him in his hands. I see them with my own eyes. He's got cue cards in his hands. Now, I don't know what they say, but allegedly they're telling him when to stand, when to say, you look to the left, you move to the right. I mean, which is okay. But what did you think about his video, and do you think it was effective to launch his campaign?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
Does it address the big issue? That his age, you think it addresses his issue? That he is too old and okay.
Okay. With Trump at his
we talking about Biden. You can't talk about Trump. You gotta talk about Biden. We talking about Biden. And Biden looking, acting, sounding, moving like he's too old. That's the concern. You don't think he is? All right. I'm gonna let that go. We'll let that slide.
So what's his record?
When he goes upstairs, he takes the stairs really quick.
He takes the stairs. Man, get off. All right, enough of you. Listen, I think it's time you focus on the road, Carl. Go ahead on back, drive that truck, man. We appreciate you calling in. One of my longest callers been following me around. Thanks a lot, man. You hang in there.
Thank
Be
you, Carl.
safe, and keep listening, okay?
All right, then.
All right, take care, Carl.
So we have to be very careful about ageism, right?
Yes.
They tried, because even with me, I'm 58 years old.
58, really?
Yeah.
We're about the same age.
Yeah.
You're just a few years in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm-
yeah.
so-
What year did you come out?
82.
Okay, yeah. You're yeah.
But I'm proud,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, because you
when the-
look great though. See, if you didn't look, you could pass for a lot less. You take some numbers off that,
thank you.
right? But so yeah.
But when I was running with this race, a few people that we know, they made a comparison saying that we need to have a younger person. We have to look to the younger person, which they were alluding to. Well, they were stating that it's a fact he is young, a younger rather.
Right.
He was a younger candidate.
Right.
And I'm older. But again, what do you get? You get somebody that stands by what they say and mean what they say, or you get somebody that's pressured. Pressured.
The ageism is sensitive because I have an issue. We've had ancient men running this country for hundreds of years,
100%.
and age has never been an issue. To now, women, other minorities, other
Right.
people, and I just thought Don got in trouble wandering into that lane, and then there's a litany of things Don did. So let's put Don. Okay, so back to the election lesson that we're getting. So
let me just say one more thing.
Uh-huh.
Don Lemon does so the old saying is you can't do what they do, how they do.
Right.
He was off the chain a lot of times. Right?
Yeah.
So again,
and I don't want to say, and unfortunately, maybe because of the fact that he's gay, and there's a sensitivity for overreacting to sometimes with people in certain groups. He thought he had more license, or he thought he was bigger than he was.
100%.
Likewise, we saw the issue with Tucker Carlson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly he thought he was bigger than he really, he really was, and eventually. They said, "Look, you don't own this.
100%.
Owner." So they that to me that was a whole nother dynamic there with the legal issues and stuff. But getting back to the election, so we get into the runoff, and you're saying let's talk about this issue about turnout. You're saying the supervisor of elections office should be held accountable for voter turnout and the lack thereof. That's a reflection of their doing their job.
Well, so first I want to find out what they're specifically supposed to do, right? You would think that's what.
Well, I can tell you one thing: whatever it is, it ain't working.
Okay, correct.
We can just stop right there. Whatever they're doing, it ain't working.
Correct.
So
I think that what I want to know from the supervisor of elections is that do they set goals of turnout?
My question would be, what are you going to do to solve the problem?
100%.
Right. The back piece now, we figured it out.
Correct.
It's not working. It didn't work in the runoff, and there are people that count on that in certain districts. Because I was at a meeting at the school board, and everybody coming up to the mic talking, and this lady came from South Tampa, and when she got to talk, she said a key phrase. She said, "We vote."
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's talking. I just want you to know, we'll remember what you did when it comes time to vote, and they're right in those districts. And so, what do? You have people that go into those districts, and you got a campaign that why? Because those people show up,
So that's when I say it's systematic, right? So systematically, if I walk in knocking on doors, let me just say this. There's the supervisor of elections office, there's the different parties, and there's candidates.
Correct.
Candidates cannot reach everyone to tell them that there's an election going on. So if the supervisor of elections is doing it, if the different parties are doing it, and candidates, they're getting hit 2 and 3 times. The difference is candidates are going to do targeted touch, right?
Because of resources.
Correct. So when I go into communities and I see nothing about voting, not even a billboard.
Not a bill. No
nothing.
ads, no signage, no here we come, get ready.
But
nothing.
then South Tampa gets the phone calls. They're going to get the mailers. They're going to get the knock on doors.
But where are they getting that from, though?
The candidates.
Right. And then you have the party.
Correct.
What is the party doing to get its base
100%.
And does the party get? And I think city council is nonpartisan, right?
Correct.
So the party really wouldn't get into those races, would it?
No, it has nothing to do with the races. It has everything to do about the election, because there's a Democrat or a Republican running. So,
but my thoughts would be the party is going to say, well, we're not getting involved in trying to do anything with this around this election because this race, unlike state representative, they're non-party, so we can't really.
Oh, they can tell who's.
But can they put their hand in on the scale though? And
they can. So
they can run ads and stuff. Hey, get out the vote.
Just tell everybody to get out the vote. That's the educational
They don't want everybody
part.
to come vote. They want Democrats to come vote or
well,
Republicans.
they can target Democrats
and do mailers and things.
Correct.
Like that. Now, isn't that stuff really expensive though?
Democratic Party got money.
Well, I'm just saying, running.
They got money,
and money's only good if you spend it.
100%.
Right. So having a pot of money is no good.
100%.
So let's talk about that piece on the finance side. How did you feel the community financially supported you?
Oh, absolutely. I was in a race for less than 90 days.
Okay.
I raised $46,000.
Get out of here! Wow.
I didn't go to big business. Now people own.
It was grassroots.
100%.
Grassroots. That would imply that you got something. If you step back for a minute, plan it out, target it out, how this stuff, get some buy-ins, you might have some momentum for another run at some other position.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think that's feasible in the future?
So I see I have to pass this hurdle now in regards to, I think there should be structure in regards to how we get out the vote.
Okay.
Right? That has to be handled.
Right.
I was trying to handle organizing people around a campaign while I was in a campaign, and that was difficult.
So you want to organize first and then get into campaign, and then you just run.
Correct. And I may not run.
Uh-huh.
That's always an option. But I feel the need of handling the conversation with the supervisor of elections office, organizing people in regards to getting out to vote, and really putting forth an effort to educate them about the vote. So yeah.
Got it. So listen, we're going to take a quick break, get into our last segment. If you're listening in, I've got in the studio with me Robin Lockett, recent city council candidate, talking about, hey, here's my experience, and what can you do with this? If you want to call in, do so, 813-444-9588. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Tell a friend to listen in. It's In Touch Radio, reality radio.
You've been injured. You deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
Jazz at Miss Connie's house is brought to you by Ray Williams Funeral Home, providing the highest quality, professional, and caring service for your family. Call Jeffrey Rhodes at 813-253-3419. That's 813-253-3419. Or visit him at 301 North Howard Avenue, Tampa, Florida. Ray Williams Funeral Home, for the finest care and quality service.
I ain't putting my boys.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody could be a star. I've got in studio with me Robin Lockett. She recently ran for city council, and she has co-hosted the show before. She's been a guest. She's been a caller. She worked in our community for eons and eons, and I just thought it would be kind of refreshing to hear some fresh bit. Election just ended, what, Tuesday?
Yes.
Just Tuesday. You got a couple days of sleep and rest, and now it's starting to formulate some thoughts going backwards. Because, Robin, all over this country, almost everybody that ever is elevated in public office, they start somewhere.
Correct.
And you just went through that experience, and there are people that could learn so much from your experience. And so I just wanted to touch base with you, have you share. So we got a few minutes left before we have to wrap up our show. Somebody out there is thinking about running for office. Give them a couple of things. Let's give them 2 things you should think about before before you make that final decision. What would those things be?
Get engaged in the community. The community should not. It should not be the first time the community hears from you in regards to what you're concerned about when you sign that paper and run.
Got it. So you've already been showing up at city council, at community meetings, asking tough questions.
Correct.
And when the answers aren't right, okay,
Correct.
get my butt. So something else that should be a factor, you think, besides the awareness level with the community that, look, you're a concerned person, and there's some buy-in. What would be something else you would say?
Understand the office that you're running for.
Right.
That's important, to understand exactly how it operates, where the resources are, be a part of different boards if you can, but understand the office that you're running for.
And in this case, you were running for city council. So tell me something about that office that you, like, for example, I'll say it's a 7-board office.
Correct.
And then there are three
at large.
At large means all over the city.
Correct.
And then 4 specific district
Single
seats.
member.
And you ran for an at large seat.
Correct.
Which meant the whole city.
Correct.
And why did you pick at large versus single?
Strategically, because I felt I knew more people throughout Tampa than just in New Tampa, where I live, District 7.
And I want to, this may be delicate. Did the person in the current seat, how did that factor in whether I run or not run?
The seat was open.
It was an open seat.
Correct.
Well, I thought he was on city council before.
Yeah, but here in Tampa, until recently, city council used to play games. If a person served their term in the single member district or whatever district they were in for the
2 terms,
means 8 years.
Right.
They would then go and file to run for another seat, a citywide seat. Correct.
Okay.
So my opponent was in a single member district, District 6, and then turned around and filed for District 2.
Got it. Okay. And so that made sense, though. All right. Then listen, I appreciate you being transparent.
Yeah.
First, working in the community the way that you do, giving us your time coming into the show like you have. Anything that you would want to say as we depart that say, look, to the people that supported you, anything that you want to share?
I want to thank the community for coming out, for donating, for the encouraging words. I had so many people praying for me. Just prayers and just recognition, right, in regards to the seat. It's not over. If you want to run, don't be scared. Set yourself up to run. We need great people that care about the community in office. That's the key. We need great people that care about the community in office. And if you care about the community, you're showing it in action before you run.
Wow, I like that. Listen, Rob, I want to thank you very much for getting up on a Saturday morning, spending it here with us in the studio. As you all know, following this show, there's another great show called Stay Woke that comes on Michelle Williams. And then she has a wonderful young man that helps her co-host that show, my cousin, Walter Dunn III. So you know what that means. Y'all need to stick around.
Yeah.
Check out what Michelle is talking about. Check out what my man, Walter Dunn III, is talking about. Just be enlightened. I'm not saying agree or disagree. I'm just saying be enlightened. All right, I appreciate that very much. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, enjoy your Saturday. Make it full and fruitful. And I will see you back again next week, Saturday, right here, 10 a.m. Bye-bye.
Yeah.